G'day legends, I hope you're all fantastic. Strymon have just dropped plugin versions of their Dig and El Capistan delay pedals, and I'm going to try them out. They've got free 7-day trials for them, which I have downloaded and installed. This video isn't sponsored or affiliated with Strymon in any way. I am going to compare this to two of my favorite delay plugins that I already own, but we're going to get started on the Dig. I'm very familiar with this one because I have owned both versions of the pedal. I own the V2 version at the moment. It's actually sitting at my feet on my studio board. I love that pedal. Essentially, you have two digital delay lines that can be run independently or synced to one another. You've got three voicings on here, 2496, which is like a very hi-fi sounding digital delay, ADM, which is crusty and lo-fi, and 12-bit, which kind of sits in the middle. 12-bit on the pedal is my favorite mode on there because it sounds like some of my favorite 80s rack delays. One cool thing about the plugin is they have exposed the config on here, so you can run these two delays in series a series ping pong fashion, which is pretty unique on the pedal and in here, and then in parallel for a classic dual delay setup on here. Rather than a three-way switch like on the pedal, you've got a continuous control for mod, you've got tone and dry level. Then on the two delays in here, you can sync the second delay to delay one if you want, or you can run it freely. Same thing on here. You can sync this to the MIDI clock or the tempo of your project. You can tap the times in there. You've got repeats controls, level controls, time controls on there. You can even lock the repeats so that they scale together, and you can lock the levels and the dry levels so they scale together as well. There's an infinite button on here as well. That kind of covers it. We should probably just hear this thing. This is a Chilia Bell Aurora. I'm using the FAS Rec model on my Axe Effects. I've cleaned it up quite a lot with the volume control on this guitar. Let's just hear this clean. There's a couple of my favorite sounds with the plugin. They also just kind of mirror my favorite sounds on the pedal and what I would do on there. Having the configuration modes exposed and having a continuous knob rather than the three-way switch for modulation, I actually kind of prefer over the pedal. I think though, the tactile nature of twisting knobs on the pedal does make it a lot quicker and easier to dial in. Having said that, there's secondary functions that are unlabeled on the pedal that constantly frustrate me. So this is really nice, and I really hope when Strymon release their Nixie software editor for all of their pedals, which I really hope is soon. I have no idea, again, not affiliated with them, don't have any goss on any of this. It lets us do similar things to the plugin on here. So that is the dig. Let's disable that and move over to the L cap. Pretty similar layout on there. Now I am less familiar with the actual L cap pedal. So what I've done is I've just kind of cheated and I've put together a few of my favorite sounds to get started with. So a kind of lead tone on here. This one gives you 3 different machine types on here. So you've got a moving style tape on there. I'm guessing like an Echoplex on there, single fix, and then multi-fix for like a multi-head echo on there. Just for a lead tone, I like cranking up the mix. There's a spring reverb on here, which you can lock the settings in place as you change modes. And then wow and flutter and tape crinkle are tape style modulation. You got a bunch of crustification tools, as I would call them. So for me, if I was in a real 70s Blackmore or Gilmore type of mood, I'd go with the L cap. For all my other rock pig style stuff, I just go for the Dig on there. Now, Strymon are selling this as a bundle. You get both plugins, I think for $99 US, which made me think, you know, the El Capistan sort of does the one thing. It does crusty tape echoes really well, and the Dig does a few things pretty well, but it definitely has that 80s rack flavor about it. For a little bit more, you could get a plugin like Fabfilter Timeless. Let's actually bring that up. We'll bypass the L cap plugin and take it out there. Let's bring up Timeless now and take a look at it. Now, the overall layout probably isn't as guitar player friendly, but they have so many amazing presets on here. So you can come in, I'm actually going to go to some presets that I made. So my go-to lead preset on here. Basically, you have control over the taps here. There's a bunch of kind of tap options. Then you can set your delays down here. One criticism I have of Timeless is that sort of the most important part where you set the delays is kind of small down here. You can then filter them. You've got drive, lo-fi, diffusion, dynamics, pitch. Basically, if you're into stuff like, you know, the Eventide style delays or the old TC2290 and you want to cop that tone, or even the Lexicon PCM 70 and 80, you want to cop those tones in your DAW. I tell everyone to get this. It is one of my 2 favorite delay plugins. Check this out. I can set these delay times to pretty much anything I want. There's a larger range than is available on the Dig. Furthermore, with the presets, we can go in and get some really funky stuff in here. So I'll go to medium and you've got stuff like basic delays. You've got, I guess, your kind of general all-purpose stuff, guitar-specific presets. Like if we go to this degraded flutter, one really cool thing, well, that I find cool, because I really like tweaking this stuff. If you're not into tweaking stuff, the idea with the L cap and the Dig is Strymon have kind of done all that tweaking for you, and they've made little macro knobs that do all of it, so you don't have to think. But the powerful thing about Timeless, and this kind of reminds me of what you can do in the Axe effects as well, is you've got modifiers in here. So you can assign LFOs and envelopes and other functions to the various delay parameters, and then you can create these little macro controls on here. So I can have a control called flutter, and there's ducking, and you can have the delays be pitched as well. Timeless retails for about $129, so not that much more, but if you want control over a delay plugin, it gives you so much in there, with the caveat that I think you really have to learn the interface and you probably need to use the presets as starting points, but having all those modifiers on there, if you're really geeky about your delays and you don't have Timeless, I would highly recommend it. The other one, and this is probably my favorite delay plugin ever, one of my favorite delays ever, is Soundtoys Echoboy. Now, I didn't pay the current retail price for this one. I think it's like about $199 US at list, but Soundtoys stuff always comes on sale. I think I picked this up for around $49 US on sale, and I liked it so much that I ended up buying their total bundle. Again, when it was on sale, buy plugins on sale, kids. You'll save so much money. It will save you so much heartache in the long run when you go out and you buy the Strymon Dig plugin with the L cap, and then 6 months later, it's on sale for half price or something. But this one kind of takes what I like about the Dig and the L cap, and it gives me all of it and so much more in there. So you can have a single echo, a dual echo, ping pong, or rhythmic echo. So there's kind of like mirroring the structure on the Dig, but then you can have different delay styles, and look at all these options. You've got different tapes, so kind of all the tapes that would be represented in the L cap. Then you've got digital delays, you've got things like fat, distressed, limited. I guess they're kind of going to do what some of the Dig is doing in there. I really like this limited delay in here, set up as a dual echo, a bit of feedback, quarter note on one side, dotted eighth note on the other side. This one sounds pretty fantastic, I think. There's even a deep tweaking mode on here where you can set up the overall width, different rhythmic accents, rhythm tap delays. You can have cross feedback on there between the delays. It's a phenomenal delay plugin. I think it's worth the full price, but again, if you really, really like having a lot of different delay styles, and what I find a very nice workflow on here, and something that maybe I don't feel like Strymon have nailed with their plugins yet, their pedals are so amazing to get dialed in. They have mastered the art of a pedal-based workflow for really complex effects, whether it's the Dig and the El Capistan, things like the Volante, the Big Sky. They're so easy to use, and the presets and the sound design that goes into them is so good. The plugins, however, are good, but I don't think they're great as standalone plugins. Sure, they cop the tone of the pedals, and look, let's face it, if you've got the pedals and you use them a lot, it makes a lot of sense to have those available in your DAW with instant preset recall and the ability to run multiple instances of them, like, you know, running 3 instances of the Dig into one another, one for a chorus sound, one for like a light spatial slapback, and the other for a big ambient ping pong sound on there. That makes a lot of sense. But like the layout and the overall design, I don't know, when I kind of look at the plugins, they feel like stuff that was coming out 10, 15 years ago, just aesthetically, and dialing in things in and where things are on the plugins, to me, isn't as refined as the pedals. And I think plugins like Timeless, if you really want to go advanced, or Echoboy, if you just want great tones and a great workflow on there, do it so much better, I think, in the plugin realm. So I think Strymon still have a long way to go when it comes to making their plugins truly great. Now, Echoboy, like I said, its retail price is double what this bundle would be, but it does more than double what those plugins do. I think it's a case of like, if you're really committed to the sound of the El Capistan or Dig, it's going to be a no-brainer to get the plugins. It's not that much money to spend really in the scheme of things, especially when we're talking about guitar-focused gear. You can, of course, then easily integrate them onto other instruments, which a lot of people are going to do. Having said that, I think if you want the plugin as a replacement for the pedal, that's not really the vibe in here. Like if you've never owned a Dig, I don't think getting the Dig plugin is going to give you the experience of having the pedal. I would say go and get something like Echoboy or Echoboy Junior, which is cheaper and on sale more often, or grab Timeless. What I like about Fabfilter is if you own multiple Fabfilter plugins, they give you a discount on other plugins. Because I've got so many Fabfilter plugins, when Timeless came out, I think I paid like $49 US for it or something like that. And I use it all the time. And because I'm a delay nerd, it lets me get really deep. If I just want to bring up a delay tone to get some sounds, I can use something like Echoboy. Or you could use Dig and the El Capistan plugin. I'm really curious to know what anyone watching this video thinks of these plugins. Like, are you someone who's just going to grab them because you want those tones in your DAW and you've been using the pedals on your pedal board for a long time? Do you just like the sounds that I pulled in the demo and you think it's a good way to spend your money? Or do you find it, again, like good, but not great? I think we're so used to Strymon being great. Their pedals are great. And Strymon pedals, when you say Strymon, people think of a sound and they think of, how easy they are to use and how good the presets are. Whereas I don't necessarily think you're going to get that from the plugins, but that's just my opinion on here anyway. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you dig what I'm doing on the channel, links in the video description. Go and play your guitars, make some greasy, glorious guitar noises, and I'll see you next time.